Okay, I'm just over halfway through the day. I've been working on the housing for the turret and the top plate. This hasn't ended up being a little bit more involved than I expected, but I've worked my way a bit further down the line on this than I expected to. So here, I've done the interior of the front section. Now this you'd be able to see from the front of the ship, but not particularly clearly. So I didn't spend too long on this, on the fitment of everything. But that's done essentially. This is just framework here. Again, foam core mainly. The only problem with foam core really is that you can only glue it with certain things. Super glue basically corrodes it. Yoo-hoo corrodes it. You know, a lot of glues just eat the interior of foam core. You can glue to either side, but not end to end like this. But end to end on here is fine with glue gun glue. Glue gun glue is great for foam core. Works really nicely. So I've done that. That's finished. So now this is at the moment just one piece. It's quite light and very rigid, which helps. Pretty huge, obviously. So this here, because I'm going to be gluing this on in a minute and I'm not going to be able to get a brush in there, I'm going to need to paint this interior section. So I've masked off all the bits I don't want to paint, obviously, with masking tape. So I'm just going to spray on there, do a bit of weathering on it. I'm not going to talk at this point much about how I'm painting it, because I'm going to talk about that a lot more when I actually come to paint the ship properly. So I'm just going to get on with that, and then I can finally glue the top section on. Okay, so I've finished painting all of the underside section. You can see in here, quite a simple job, to be honest. Just a white base coat and some black weathering powder, and then a coat of matte varnish over the top to seal it in. Pretty simple really, but it's very effective, nice and fast. You can see I've also done that to the top of the ship as well, the interior here, which is about to be covered by this thing. I also decided, since I'm leaving out the motorising of the doors, I thought I'd add a few other things. So I've now lit the interior. I'm using LED Christmas lights to light the inside of the main hangar deck anyway, and I had a few spare sets, so I thought I'd use one in here. So there's now 8 lights running all the way across here, which will just light up the whole interior, which is needed because it's quite a long hangar. This has the hangar doors at the back there, just fabricated. This wire I've run along here, round the side and out through the back. And the rest of the lights, the rest of the set over there, can then run up to the observation deck at the top and light the interior of that as well. It's quite a good way of doing things. So now, once the ink is dry on that, I painted the Christmas wires chrome as well, just to make them look like piping, really. So now that's going to go on, and then I'm going to start cladding the outside. So it's halfway through day 15, which marks exactly the halfway point of the project, time-wise, in terms of how long I've got. How do I feel about this at this point? Well, I mean, I think I'm about more than halfway through the build now. It doesn't look like it, but a lot of the work has been done with the prepping of all the little parts and building all of the payload and everything else, which took ages. The actual assembly process is going okay. I mean, no, I said I wanted to build the turret yesterday. Obviously, I'm nowhere near that point yet. But having said that, I've spent a bit more time than planned on this, but it's come out really nicely. Some of the angles, surfaces are quite tricky. I'll show you a close-up in a bit of those, about how they're being done. But it's coming out really nice and really solid, which is a good thing. And that all works. The lighting on the inside of the flight deck was worth doing last night. I think that looks really nice. So basically, I'm going to carry on with cladding the rest of this, because these are all loose at the moment. I've done one side and a little bit over here, but I need to continue cladding the rest of this. I've decided now as well to build the observation deck into this half of the ship. Originally I planned it to be part of the rear section, which is going to be removable, so we can actually move the thing around because it's so huge. But if I build the observation deck in here, then I can use the lighting for that, which is good. The actual command, it doesn't have an exposed bridge like a lot of sci-fi ships do. CIC is actually in the middle at the back, right in the depths of the ship, which is a sensible place to put your command. But it does have an observation deck if you want to see this, look out into space, whatever. because every ship should have something like that, and that's going to be with lit windows around there. I've also, at the moment, to be honest, I've probably lost about 4 days of the project to various things, like day 12 that didn't really happen, and I started 2 days late. There's been other jobs. I probably should have foreseen that a bit more. So I'm having to sort of compensate for that a little bit. I've delegated painting the condors to James, Simon, and Louis doing a little bit as well. They're next door at the moment painting the condors, which is a pretty thankless job. It's good that they're doing that, because that's several days' work that I don't have to do. So I can spend a bit longer on the build and the painting of this. I did some painting tests yesterday, and the good news for me is I've found a really nice way of getting the panels done. You'll see that when I come to it, but it's nice and quick and efficient, which is good. So that's the half-time rain check over with. So now I better get on with things, and hopefully I can get started on the turret today with any luck. We'll see how that goes, but I better crack on, and I'll get back to you later. Now it's the morning of day 16, and I've finished cladding the hull. Let me work our way down. I've added some extra details with plasticard there. And this is all finished. In general, most of the hull has been designed for the platings to go on in whole pieces, like along here. That's very straightforward to do. When you get to one of the more difficult areas, like this angle here, that was quite difficult, quite awkward to do, but that's all done. A few gaps filled with milliput. That's where the turret's going to be going, and that's the back end. So now I'm done with this, I finally get to move on to the turret, which I've been looking forward to. So I'll check in once I've made a start on that.